What is up, ladies, gentlemen, and all mutants alike? My name is Kyle. I'm with Danny once again, and today this is a bonus pod, a mini pod,
A
a
special mini pod.
a teaser pod. We are talking New Mutants trailer. Now, I didn't think this movie was coming out.
Sure didn't.
I sure didn't. You kept bringing it up. You kept mentioning it. You're like, you excited?
I
And
held out hope.
I was adamant. I was very adamant that this movie is not coming out, and I was wrong because we were graced with a new trailer 2 days ago. What do you think about it overall? Broad strokes, just a one sentence. What could you say? Positive, negative, neutral about this trailer now that we have something more complete, I guess.
I kind of wish you were right. Gun to my head, I kind of wish you were right. That trailer left me more confused, and not like, when some trailers come out, they like leave you intrigued, like you're,
Yeah.
oh, I want to know more, like I'm excited. That left me more just like, what? Why? Like, huh? That's my general consensus is like, what and why is what I'm taking away from it. That's my stance on it so
What
far.
and why? It is a weird bastard child at this point, right? It's just out there.
And it feels like that. It feels like it's
Yeah.
burning. Like it's got like the current, because now Marvel owns the rights and everything. It's now like they're kind of black sheep of the genre right now for superhero
Exactly.
movies.
So on 20th Century Fox's YouTube channel, they released the teaser on October 13th, 2017.
Right. Yes. That's like, Jesus, 3 years ago. Fuck.
That was so long ago. Like, you don't tease that long.
Yeah, that's a hell of a team.
Yeah, clearly something went wrong, and yeah, we could see
Yeah.
that.
And you can see it in the trailer too, that it's like there seems to be some issues. Like it just doesn't quite have that feel of like a good, like big budget X-Men movie.
Yeah, they're keeping it low budget. I think they're trying to do a Deadpool thing where they're keeping it in the $50 million range. They're not doing like a $200 million like crazy extravagant superhero movie. They're keeping
Yeah,
it low key, and
definitely.
and it's going to be probably minimal in the mutant powers for the most part. I think
They burnt all
until
their budget on a CG Demon Bear.
they did burn all their budget on a CG Demon Bear, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Um, but I guess we will start by discussing what happens in the trailer, or should we just discuss the characters?
I guess kind of lay it out with the characters and then kind of like touch on the
Yeah.
trailer as we go along.
So I guess I'll start. This is directed by Josh Boone, written by Josh Boone and Nate Lee, based off of course, Claremont's work.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's start off. We got um, Anya Taylor-Joy as Ileana Rasputin, Magic. Finally, we see Magic on screen for the first time.
But it's like the kind of older Magic. It's not like they're not starting with like young Magic. It's like her powers are kind of developed, because it seems like she was wielding like her Eldritch Magic and things like that. Like she had her soul sword and all that.
Yeah.
Whereas like her actual mutant powers are just supposed to be like teleporting, like making teleportation.
Exactly. And we see it coming out of the portal.
I wonder if they're gonna expand on like if this Ileana spent time in limbo, and if that's gonna be like kind of the crux of her character. I mean, that's like the one big intriguing part. Like her, I was like, okay, I want to know more about her, and she looks kind of cool, especially as like that armor was kind of forming over her, very like Colossus-esque.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, so that's one of the high points so far.
It's interesting. I don't think she spent time in limbo. I don't think she's that badass character yet.
I don't think so either, but it seems like they're gonna touch on it a little, at least on why her magic is kind of prevalent.
Maybe, yeah. We'll see. That's cool. I'm excited. That's that a character I've been wanting to see in movie form for a while. So it's cool to see, even though regardless of if it's gonna be bad or good.
And they're making her gritty right off the bat. Like even in the trailer, she was like, "Oh, I've killed all these people
one by one."
Yeah, in Russia, and it's like that's kind of different than her origin because in her origin, I know that she was still much younger and wasn't as like she develops that kind of bloodlust later on from living in like the demon realm of limbo. So
Yeah,
it's like that's why I start to think like, okay, maybe this is supposed to be magic farther on in the comics,
maybe.
but we'll see.
We shall see. Moving on, we get Maisie Williams as Rain Sinclair. Wolfsbane. We're going to see Wolfsbane on screen. Uh, and it seems like a very, like, they're probably going to treat it very like they treated Nightcrawler in the Bryan Singer version,
Yeah, I started
I
to get
think.
kind of a vibe of that as well.
Yeah.
Like kind of the
Uh,
more innocent, more down to earth, spiritual side of the group. Yeah.
yeah, probably talking on the religious aspects of her life
Yeah,
and
exactly.
whatnot.
That's gonna play because that plays a key role in her origin, anyways.
Yeah.
Which was weird how they introduced it, like in the trailer where they were like talking to her about her origin. Where like, what was everyone's first time? And I was like, that's a
Yeah.
weird way to phrase it. She was like, I was 13, and I'm like, this is really weird dialogue.
Right?
This
Oh,
is very
what
like
is?
kind of cringy a little bit.
Yeah. What are they trying to insinuate?
Yeah.
Uh,
But they didn't show too much of her like popping off, so I hope she's like kind of like the sleeper in the movie. Like towards the end, she really like kind of lets loose and becomes that kind of Wolfsbane from like X Force. But that's another tidbit that they haven't really shown too much of.
Moira McTaggart delivered her as a baby.
Yeah, and completely void from this trailer as well, and seems like this movie. No
Yep.
Moira.
No Moira, which is weird, right?
In this universe, that Moira's dead already in her life. That life
Right.
of Moira, she was killed by Destiny and Pyro.
Uh,
uh,
and thus ends the life of Moira McTaggart in the X-Men universe. Moving on from there. Now, Antonio Banderas is credited in this movie, but his character is unknown.
he's doing the
Who
voice of
is?
the Demon Bear.
I was thinking the voice of the Demon Bear. Yes, yes.
Very
Either that or
classic New
like,
Mutants like
yeah,
antagonist for the original volume is when they introduced it. Though the
yeah.
Demon Bear itself comes up in like three more iterations. Like there's an X Force issue where they deal with the Demon Bear. Like
Mhm.
Warpath is going to visit his brother's grave, Thunderbird, and the
Yeah.
Demon Bear shows up there. And then there's another time where it shows up possessing Bishop, and then like
Mhm.
Psylocke tames it and turns it into her pet. It's the Demon Bear is a weird character throughout not only New Mutants but just the X-Men mythos. And we're normally lazy and like call people like Science Lady and what have you, but it's
Mhm.
literally called Demon Bear. Like that's the name.
Right?
That's the
Yeah.
official
Yeah.
canon Marvel name, Demon Bear.
We're lazy. Yeah. Come on. You're getting paid. You're getting paid.
Yeah, what are you
Get it
doing,
together.
Claremont? I think Claremont was just getting tired. He was just like, I don't know, well, fuck it, new villain for the X-Men. These kids can fight a Demon Bear as far as I'm concerned. Oh shit. Oh man.
That is funny. Demon Bear is tied closely to Danny Moonstar, which is also in this. We'll talk about in a second. But moving on, Alice Braga plays Dr. Cecilia Reyes. She seems to be the doctor in this
Yeah.
trailer. That's
Not
a
a New
mutant,
Mutants
though.
character. Yeah, she's
But it
not a
is.
New
But it
Mutant.
is a mutant, though, right?
I don't think Celia Reyes is a mutant either. From what
Are
I
you
remember
sure?
her, she was the one that was originally involved with being the one of the scientists that were trying to develop the cure for the mutant gene. Like, so she
Uh-huh.
used to be like on the anti-mutant side, but later on, I think she befriends Beast, and they kind of and cause her to flip sides. And now she's currently in their kind of like in their corner as like a scientist that's like pro mutant. But originally, I think she was introduced as being anti-mutant and just like all a part of those people who are like, let's find a way to commit genocide and wipe out the mutants. At least that's
Wikipedia
how I remember her, but I might be.
Wikipedia says she has the mutant ability to project a force field around her body.
And that's in this movie or actually like her
Just
canon.
in the comics, yeah, in the
Oh,
canon.
okay, so she does have mutant powers.
So she
Okay.
has mutant powers in canon. I don't know about this movie though.
Well, that
It
could,
doesn't probably not. It doesn't seem like it. Who knows?
or maybe it does, but it's just not as relevant.
she seems like she might not even be real because this movie is like a movie that plays on your expectation of the narrator. It seems like a narrator that you can't trust, and reality can't be trusted in what they're showing you in this movie type of situation.
Yeah. Oh,
Um,
you know what? This just seems like way different than her character because there was like that Operation Zero Tolerance, like where the government was like trying to do like anti-mutant research, and this is what brought her into joining the mutants and all that kind of stuff later on. So I don't
okay,
think any of that character origin is going to have foundation in what this movie's putting forward, but
gotcha.
I'm interested to see like what they're
Sure.
going to do with her. It's weird when they do this in the movie though, in the movies when
Hmm.
they bring in characters that have like kind of really specific origins and they kind of shoehorn them into like different roles just because the names are recognizable or
Yeah.
the names actually hold place in the history. Because I don't even think people would say that Dr. Celia Ray is recognizable.
Right? No, not
So
at all.
really strange that they didn't use Moira here, but whatever, you know.
It's a weird choice, but we'll see how that goes. Moving on, we got Charlie Heaton, Stranger Things guy, as Sam Guthrie,
Yeah,
aka Cannonball. Um, the power, yeah, he could do.
the human cannibal.
He's pretty much a cannonball. Yeah, he just
He's essentially immortal, or I guess you could say invulnerable when he activates his powers and takes flight.
yeah. It should be interesting, but it shows him mainly using like powers in his arm in the trailer.
Yeah, his like thermal chemical energy is like building up in his arm, and like
Yeah.
they probably won't do the actual ability to fly
No. I
until
don't.
probably later on in the movie. I bet like towards the end they'll probably be like, "Oh, and Cannonball, if you use your powers this way, you can fly." And he's like, "Look at me, I'm flying." I'm like, "Okay, cool."
What do you think
Instead,
of? Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say until then he's probably just gonna punch things and they're gonna explode.
Yeah, sounds
Look
about
at my
right.
cannonball punch.
What do you think of the choice for actor
Uh
in this?
he doesn't. I mean, the clothing kind of looks like him,
Uh-huh.
but his hair is like too dark for it to be like. Because I remember Cannonball was
He's
had kind of
blonde.
yeah, like a light blonde hair, and he looked a lot like his sister. They were like a very similar in their design. So I don't know, but the look is close enough. I mean, hair side, the way they drew him, like with like kind of his clothes and that hat, and like kind of like a very like kind of like a young Southern kid, like that
Yeah.
works. I believed it, and the casting is fine enough because like I'm indifferent about the actor, so I was just like, okay, whatever. I know some people are big Stranger Things fans, so they're pro about it. Some are anti Stranger Things, so they're not happy about it. But I'm either way. I'm just like whatever. That was the least of my concerns in this trailer.
The acting or the casting choices.
Yeah,
Um, for fair enough. I guess it works since they're going for this dark brooding tone
yeah,
in the story. So that his character works for that, or
yeah.
his
Design.
face.
Yeah,
His face
yeah.
works. Moving on from there, we get Blue Hunt as Danny Moonstar. Now, Danny Moonstar is tied heavily to Demon Bear, who feeds off of her fears, pretty much.
Yeah.
Unless Danny Moonstar is also known as Mirage.
Yeah,
Mirage.
Barad. Correct. But her
Uh,
powers are kind of like Psylocke, but more like with a
yeah,
Native American kind of like twist to it. Is
yeah,
she can like make psychic bows and arrows and like psychic tomahawks and like like psychic constructs, but she also has
exactly.
all your other psychic abilities like mind, telepathy, and all that kind of like jazz. And she's got like a
Yeah.
sixth sense and all these weird stuff. But that's funny because like I don't know how hard they're gonna play on it because in the comics like that's kind of a short-lived road for Danny. She's not really so heavily on the powered end through the majority of the comics. Like right now, most of her power usually comes from like her being a Valkyrie and shit.
Valkyrie. I was gonna say it's
Yeah.
like all of her when she was granted the portion of Valkyrie's power.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
So
and
that's
Bright Wind,
yeah, it's kind of like
whatnot.
a weird choice for them to throw her in this and like focus heavily on her powers, but I don't know if they'll do that. Like if they do, that'll be
No,
kind of funny
they're
because
definitely not.
But then again, it's like I don't know if
Never
this series
know.
is gonna have legs.
This is a Marvel movie now.
It is a Marvel movie now, but unless they do some like good cleanup to really like shoehorn it into like how if this is how they turn the X-Men into if this is how they start the X-Men as a foray into the Marvel mythos, I feel like it's going to be kind of forced and shoehorned.
Yeah.
I almost feel like this movie needs to just be a one and done, and
It's probably going to be a one and done, most
I'm
likely.
hoping, but I've been hearing a lot of talks that they're adding little tidbits that's gonna kind of begin the notion of mutants in the greater Marvel universe.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We shall see about that whenever it comes out. Um, moving on.
Mm-hmm.
We get, I think that's pretty much it for, oh no, Henry Zaga plays Robert DaCosta, Sunspot.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
So Sunspot, he's Brazilian, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. And he
Um,
can cover his
he,
body in like a type of, you know, flame that is almost akin to any type of hero that can do that. So, I
he
mean,
could
he's nothing radical.
absorb and force solar energy, right? Pretty
Yeah,
much.
yeah, he
Yeah.
can basically absorb and wield solar energy to make his body stronger or to give himself flight or do all the type of like he's like a human torch. He's just
Yeah.
the New Mutants version of Human Torch. Instead of burning like bright red, he's got like the yellow outline and his core fire is like all black.
Yeah. In the trailer, he says he burned his girlfriend.
You see that burnt hand reach up and like touch him in the back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's interesting. And that is it for the most part for the uh main cast.
No karma.
No karma,
Instead
right?
of Karma, we got Magic, which was interesting because the original
Yeah.
core New Mutants was Cannonball, Karma, Mirage, Sunspot, Wolfsbane.
Uh,
But they ditched Karma and was just like, Magic's cooler.
yeah.
Throw her in. And at least they didn't go with Doug.
I
Cypher
was
would have
gonna
been weird.
say, where's Douglas Ramsey? I want to see
Yeah.
him talk about languages in this film pointlessly. This is
Yeah.
like it's a horror film, and he's just all like, "Hey guys, I actually understand him."
I
He's
could
just
talk to the demon bear. He's got a nail in it. He's got a thorn in his
yeah.
paw. He just wants us to pull it out.
Come on, this is easy. Get it together. I am Cypher. Yeah. Um, what do you think? What do you think of the cast? So
I'm
over
fine with it.
choices.
The cast is really honestly with this is I already knew there were going to be a lot of young people going into it, and I didn't really expect anyone I recognized. It's
Sure.
interesting that like with Wolfsbane and her character, like obviously recognize the actress, but like with everyone else, I was just kind of I didn't even know that was the dude from Stranger Things until you said something, and I was just like, oh yeah, I guess it is. All right. But I mean, like I was never that hyped about like when they announced a New Mutants movie. Like I was like, oh, who's gonna play who? I was just more like,
Yeah.
oh god, how are they gonna make this like a mess? Because New Mutants is already strange, and the arcs that they have are already very strange, and they're picking one of the stranger ones with like the Demon Bearer. So
Mhm.
it's interesting. I was hoping at some point they would like tie this into like Legion somehow, and that would have been the big crux of all of it. But
That'd be
I don't
cool.
know.
Doubtful. Yeah. Very,
Yeah.
very doubtful. The only person I knew was Anya Taylor Joy. She was the girl in Split and Glass
Oh.
too. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Interesting.
yeah. That's it. And I guess the Stranger Things and Game of Thrones
Yep.
people. That's
That's
about it.
it. Yeah.
Um,
Which is fine.
and
I mean, that
yeah,
you get new faces. That could
sure.
help. Yeah.
Yeah. And Maisie Williams, yeah, who played
Yeah.
Arya Stark. She was hot when this movie was originally filmed. Like she was on fire. That
Yeah.
movie.
There's no
Yeah.
baggage with Game
Could
of
you
Thrones.
imagine? Yeah,
Yeah.
there's no baggage. There's nothing. People
I was
loved
like,
it. Yeah.
just another thing to add to that wound.
Yeah, now yeah. So we'll see. We'll see how that helps or hurts or whatever with her career. I think she'll be
Yeah.
fine. I don't think it'll.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll see. Um. All right, but yeah. So this one thing to note was originally there was supposed to be a post-credit scene in this film when it was
Okay.
originally uh, a Fox film, and it was supposed to be John Hamm showing up as Mr. Sinister to set
I
up
heard about that.
the next movie after this. Yeah, because they teased Mr. Sinister in Apocalypse as well at the end with the Essex Corp.
Yes, yeah. They were building up towards that hard, but it seems like that's now that shit is gone. I wonder if we could deleted scene. Like that'd be cool to get like John Hamm in the Sinister.
Sure.
I like that casting choice too. When I heard that, I was
John
like, that's
Hamm,
cool.
right?
He's got the face for it, like the chiseled square face. Like Sinister's got that kind of like boding face, so that's dope. But never gonna happen.
Ever going
unless you know Disney goes and takes the reins with that and runs with it.
Yeah. So
did you notice the other cameo?
No. What was the other cameo?
Charles Xavier.
Where?
Didn't you see that bald guy jump off of the ceiling?
Oh.
That's all I could think of. I was like, it's Charles. You're being chased by some bald dude. I was like, get out of my mansion.
The one that's like creeped down like a spider?
Yeah, the one who like leaped off the ceiling like a spider. Yeah, that shit. All I could think of was like, oh, there's Charles.
Charles, get out of here.
It's McAvoy. What are you doing?
It's McAvoy. He's working out in between Glass and Split and like getting buff.
He's channeling both characters. Yeah. He's breaking that fourth wall. Watch out, Deadpool.
Watch out. This should be interesting. Also, apparently, now that this is a Marvel movie, Feige is overseeing it, and the directors, creators showed it to Feige, and he's like, "Keep doing what you're doing." Like he didn't change it, didn't do anything.
Yeah, I heard they were saying that this version of the movie that's coming out is what they wanted to do, pretty much for the most part. Like it's not too influenced by any Disney decision at all, really.
So that's interesting. That's surprising. Even
the
Sony movie, the Spider-Man movie, they're like, no, we're interfering. You're not doing a good job.
We'll fuck up our entire build-up of Spider-Man if you don't let us take this.
Yeah,
we'll throw the entire Marvel like canon to trash just for Spider-Man. Like, what a mess that turned out to be. But I'm glad this is suffering from those things. But maybe also at the same time, Feige's playing it safe, where he looked at it and he's like, we don't want to be anywhere near this trash fire.
Could be, yeah.
It's like, you guys do what you do. So in the end, I could just take all the blame away and put it on you guys and go like, I have not seen this. I don't know what they're doing. We didn't sign off on this. We just let them do it because we felt bad.
So it seems like Demon Bear is going to be the main bad guy. Do you see any other bad guys showing up? Other people showing up? Maybe any cameos?
Well, they're trying to build Cecilia as like one of the like kind of like the bad people as well, because it's like they're trying to make it seem like these mutants are prisoners and that this is like more of like an asylum kind of situation, like and a very like Arkham Asylum kind of feel. But also it's like a very disjointed movie where you're not supposed to know what's real or not. I think there's like a term for it in like horror films, but it's like it's to imply that like reality and what they're seeing and perceiving may not line up. Yeah. So in the end, this all might be like, oh, it was in their heads because they're crazy, or one of them's crazy and has psychic powers, and just projected it all on everyone. Like what I'm worried about is that the Demon Bear is just going to be a part of Danny Moonstar and like her powers and how they manifest. And that's going to be like the little way to write it off, where they're like, it's not like an actual Demon Bear, it's just a psychic manifestation. And and I'm like, oh God, no, don't do that. That's a terrible like twist. Like probably the worst they could probably do.
Yeah. Anything else that you have to say? What do you like about the horror elements of this movie? Do you like that they're making New Mutants kind of a horror film?
It's a fresh twist. I like that that's something new that they're willing to approach. Like I like that they're willing to take a chance on like doing the movie like that. A lot of people are mixed over Brightburn. I enjoyed Brightburn. I felt like Brightburn delivered on what I expected it. I did hope that it got a little. Did hope it got a little more gritty and rough, like going through the movie, like it
Yeah.
was gonna pop off and the kid was just gonna like destroy a town. But
Yeah.
they kind of hinted at that at the end, so I was like,
That's
all
what
right,
I wanted to see in the movie, though, what they
yeah,
showed at the
yes,
end.
that is my
Yeah.
biggest gripe is that he didn't just like wreck an entire city of Limbo.
Yeah.
Like
I
that
want
would
to
have been cool.
see like a girl hurt his feelings and he just fucks an entire town because of it.
Yeah, yeah,
Goes on
exactly.
a tantrum.
That was the one failing part of it, but the rest of the movie delivered on everything I wanted to see in it, and it was a coherent movie overall. So the horror genre being merged with the superhero genre can work. It can work, and seeing it in an X-Men property is exciting because they've never really done that too heavily before. Some of the movies in themselves had kind of more thriller and suspenseful kind of twists to them and like tinges, but nothing
Hmm.
heavy. Like this is the main focal point of the movie is like thrills and fear and suspense. Like that's all the bread and butter of this movie.
Yeah. Um, Other than that, will you see this in theaters?
At first, I was gonna say yes, but after seeing that trailer, it looked kind of. I felt a little. It was a little hokey. Like it felt a little hodgepodgey, and I felt that you know Kingsberg is still involved. He's producing. I'm still so burned from Dark Phoenix that I probably won't. I probably won't because all my money's going to go to Disney anyways when I if I buy a ticket because they own the properties anyhow. So it's just like I can't even protest to be like fuck Disney. I'll see this Fox movie instead. It's like nah, I don't even want to do that because they'll just get the money anyways.
Yeah.
It's like I'm screwed either way, you know. So I can't even speak with my wallet. So I'm probably just gonna piracy. I'm just gonna
Piracy for all.
I am gonna get my ship up and we're gonna go take on the brave seas of the internet and find this movie and I will watch it that way. I'm pretty
Just
confident.
just like the Red Queen herself.
Exactly. There you go. Yar. I'm gonna go Kitty Pride with it and I'm gonna jack this movie and some booze for Wolverine and we're gonna have a great time.
it'll be a it'll be a swashbuckling good time,
I
folks.
mean, I'd ask you, but I already know your answer. You weren't gonna see it even if it was a Fox
No,
property
I
or not.
did. I'm not going to see this. I'm not. I've been
This
burned.
trailer hasn't impacted you at all,
This
right?
is
Like it
not.
hasn't
But
changed your mind at
yeah,
all.
yeah.
If anything,
What
it's probably seeded you more in.
one thing I hate, and can people just stop doing this as a culture, is taking like an old song and then making like kids or like someone with a soft voice do a remixed version of it during a horror film or suspense film.
Oh, that's a great
Like
point. That's a great
that's
point.
in so many films these days.
I'll take that even a bit further. I am so sick and tired of them using Pink Floyd fucking like in this way. Like
Yeah.
the trailers with kids being rebellious and in a school and like them, like sitting there going like, hey, like we're gonna change things up in this, or something crazy is gonna happen about us and these students in this academy. Cue the Pink Floyd. Like it's like what? Like that trope is done. Like this is 2020. Like we're past that shit. Like that
Yeah.
shit was played out last decade. Like now we're gonna do it again. Like how many more trailers are we gonna get? Like that with that kind of like style of music. Either Pink Floyd or Alice Cooper. Schools Out. Like they've done that. It's to death. Like let's just move on from using it in that way. Let this be the last time they use a Pink Floyd song to a trailer like this. Like if they're gonna do another trailer and they're gonna use Pink Floyd, like use Eclipse or something, or like anything on like Dark Side of the Moon, and have it have to do with space. Like how come they've never like done that to death? Like there's
Right.
so many space oriented Pink Floyd songs that you could use. And that would work, but instead they're always going to be like, we don't need no
Yeah.
education. Let's throw it on.
Yep.
Let's just
Yep.
play.
Always.
Look at these gritty teens and their gritty situation, and I'm like, oh god. That was my first red flag, where when they started doing it, and with the slow kid voice, like you said, like that's played out, and the song that they use. So it's
It
like
was
those are
played. It
two
was.
strikes.
It was played out when the faculty did it in '99.
Oh my god, the faculty. Oh my god, Elijah Wood and Josh Hartman and
Just
John
hang it.
and John
Oh,
Stewart,
John Stewart. He gets stabbed in the eye with a
and he
pen.
lives.
He lives.
uh,
Oh, what a movie. What a
oh
decade.
man, I probably will end up enjoying the faculty more than this movie, but we'll see.
We will see. Where do you think this will rank in the X-Men lineup?
it can't be worse than the top terrible 3 of Origins and the Dark Phoenixes. I'll call them the Dark Phoenixes because
The Dark
Last Stand is
Phoenix.
really the same
Yeah.
thing. They're both the same movie, written by the same guy, done in the same fucking way.
Ah.
For 10 years, we learned nothing as a
You,
society.
you seem so bitter.
I am. It's just like that was like it was like they pranked us and it's like they weren't even trying to.
I
It's like
really think they
haha.
were pranking us with this
I
damn Dark Phoenix movie.
and it's like that Kinberg is attached again. I'm just like I don't want him involved in any of these things.
I don't want to see Kinberg.
I mean, I talked about how like when he's not helming things, it's fine, but I'm just so bitter towards him that I just don't even want him involved in any X-Men properties for the rest of his life. Like I want there to be a societal ban on him and like everybody enforces it. Like anytime he tries to get a job involving an X-Men property, they're like, "Oh no, Simon, like no, get out of here." Like, dude, there's like a picture on the wall with his face and it just says, "Do not hire this dude." If you're writing an X-Men movie, do not hire this dude.
For real. I think I saw a credit on he was credited on something that I liked and I felt dirty. What was it? I think it was like Star Wars Rebels.
Oh, dude, he's in Legion, and I love that show.
Yeah,
Legion's
he does
great.
Legion too, yeah.
Yeah, there's plenty of things that he's like accredited in that's great, but it's like, I'm just done with him. I just don't think there's no goodwill that he can bring to any of those things that I can ever forgive him for what he's already done.
Sure.
He's had his chance. It's time for us as a society to move on from him.
Move on, folks. No more Kinberg and my mutants, please. Can we make that a rule? Can we make that a rule? Feige, please. I mean, it's Feige now, so.
Yeah, it's like hopefully he'll learn from that. But I don't know. Some of the stuff that they've been saying that they're working on with Disney, I've just been concerned as well. So I'm like, what? It,
I
it
don't know
seems
what's happening over
it seems
there.
less than promising like future for superhero movies coming out of both Disney and their new Fox properties. But we'll see.
It seems like they're kind of lost over there at Marvel right now, and they're trying to figure it out while pretending that they got it all under control.
Right. Like they're saving face, saying like, "Oh no, we're gonna keep making money and doing what we've been doing," but they don't realize that they have a huge issue and like a lot of plot holes and just like their movies are losing their luster. It's like when you first saw the Star Wars movies when they came back, and you were just like, "Oh, these are interesting," and then you go back and watch them, and you're like, "Oh no, these are terrible." Like, oh my
Mm-hmm.
god, like I'm starting to realize that with a lot of the Marvel movies too. Like I'm going back and watching a lot of them and I'm like, oh no, these were actually not that great. Like these have a lot of problems. Like fuck. They
I
need to
wouldn't
fix
say
these.
they're terrible, but they're mediocre as fuck.
A few of them are pretty terrible, but I can agree the
Well,
majority
yeah,
are
the
pretty
the
mediocre.
yeah, there are a couple that are bad, but they hit on the emotion and they hit on the tone, and it works for. I think it works for Marvel and it works for comic books to be that. I don't want to say be mediocre, but like be that kind of like hopeful general like good versus evil like broad strokes. You know?
No need to reinvent the wheel. Like
Yeah.
it's you stick to what works. Don't get too radical because then you get off the course and then people start to get confused as to like, well, what is anyone's motivation? Like why? Like what are we doing here? Like that's what I'm like walking away from the New Mutants trailer. I was just like, I don't understand the motivation of any of these characters. Is it just like all horror stuff and they're just
Sure.
trying to survive? Or are they fighting against it? Or are they being melded to be the next X-Men group? Like I don't get any payoff on that. And it's like, okay, that's intriguing, but it's not intriguing in a way that makes me want to know it. It's more of just like, oh, do I even want to bother?
Yeah,
I feel
something tells
tired
me.
already.
Yeah, it's gonna be like I have a feeling it's gonna be like each character dealing with their inner turmoil, and through that you're just gonna get expositional dumps, and you're just like, well, this is just like Wikipedia the movie, and I'm bored.
Yeah, exactly. Or like in the end, like when they build up these characters, you're just like, but why am I invested in them? Because there's probably little chance that any of them are coming back.
Yeah,
So it's like you're screwed going both ways. Like I don't know. I just don't know what they're gonna do with this moving forward. But I'm intrigued to at least download it and watch it and give it a chance. I mean, shit, I watched Dark Phoenix, so this can't be as bad.
I watched Dark Phoenix as well,
So we'll see.
and yeah, let's see. Last thing, you did like the teaser originally, though, right?
Yeah, yeah, there is a teaser, but it was so little that it just got me excited. I think it was more of the fact that I was like, "Oh, we're getting a new Mutants movie. Like this is really cool." And like the luster of that wore off. And I'm like, "All right,
Gotcha.
well, we've been supposedly getting a new Mutants movie for like 3 years now,
Yeah.
and I've heard a bunch of problems. I heard that the original like test screenings bombed. Like when
Yeah.
people saw that movie, they were just no one was happy. And that's why
Right.
they went to Feige, and then they were like, "Help us and like figure out if there's anything we do." And Feige was like, "Nah, just keep doing what you're doing." And I'm like, "Oh, that sounds bad." Maybe he was just like they're trying to distance themselves, like I was saying earlier.
Sure.
So it's like we've come from me being like hopefully excited to now being like cautiously, um, I guess you could say cautiously concerned. Have you
I
gone further down? Like, are you more negative on it now, or are you kind of the same?
I guess because I didn't think it existed, so now that it exists, I guess it is a negative because I do not think. I guess in terms of what I feel about the movie, it doesn't really change whatsoever. It still feels like a weird, out of place movie between two giant corporations fighting over their studio notes that they call a movie. And I don't know. It doesn't.
Yeah, it's like the step kid. So
Yeah.
like Marvel is the stepdad, Fox is the mother, and the biological mother, and New Mutants is the step kid that is now like trying to like make it's but it's like you're seeing that, and it's like that's awkward having to deal with that kind of family ties in a
Yeah.
movie form, and especially when those parents are like corporations, so it's just so bizarre. And
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean I get how you're feeling, where it was just like you're like, this is a movie that shouldn't be made, and now your stance is essentially like, why is this movie being made?
Yeah.
That's a pretty organic transition. That's fair.
Like I would have been happy with them not making this movie, and I think that would have been a great decision. I think that would have been a good business decision to go like, "Hey, we invested in this movie, but it didn't work out. Let's move on and
Correct.
cut our losses."
I'm there as well. I'm there as well. It's like if this movie is past the point where it just doesn't need to be anymore. I think that would be better, because then it's like no New Mutants movie is better than a bad No Mutants movie.
Sure. Um, I agree. But it is. It's here. It's coming.
It's happening.
It's happening, folks. Are you going to see the movie? Let us know. We are on the socials. Yes. Any last thoughts you have, Danny?
I look forward to us reviewing the new trailer for the inevitable remake of the New Mutants.
Yeah, yeah. We'll look forward to that.
Because if
Uh,
history's taught us anything, a bad X-Men movie will get at least one remake, no matter what.
that is great. But hopefully you enjoyed this mini cast, mini pod. It went on pretty long, actually. It's almost a
Yeah.
full podcast. But yeah, that'll do it for us this week. I am Kyle. I'm with Danny. Remember, the robots are going to kill you. Oh, I'm going to be at Long Beach Comic Con this weekend as Magneto. Come and find me. Come say hi. Come take photos. Catch you next week. Peace.